Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another Community Connections with Ryan Sauers. I'm super excited to have my friends of Dyal Jenkins Attorney at Laws with us today, doing great things. We're going to be learning a lot about. We have Chris Dyal and Jim Jenkins. Not here is Steve Jenkins, but hey, guys, welcome to the show. So glad you're here.
All right.
Thanks for having us, Ryan.
You're welcome. I had to remember what I was doing for a second. You know, you do so many of these Zooms and podcasts, then you got to go, am I recording everything correctly? But these guys got a lot of exciting background, and for our viewers and listeners, why don't we just start, Jim, with you? Just give us a little bit of your background, and then Chris will jump to you and let our audience get to know you guys better.
So thanks, Ryan. My background, I've been practicing law for a little over 10 years, actually right at 11 years now. I was sworn in November of 2009, and started out kind of general litigation firm with my dad, Steve Jenkins in Elberton. Did that for a few years, and then after that moved to the Atlanta area, 2013. Nothing but real estate for a year, got bored with that, and then started doing personal injury litigation. I've been doing that since 2014. That's been my primary area of practice. And also throughout that whole time period, I've maintained my credentials and registration as a mediator. And that's something that I'm really passionate about, and think that that's, especially now with the pandemic, that may be something that's part of the wave of the future to try to get court dockets cleared up. But that's me.
That's awesome.
In a nutshell.
And I want to come back to that mediation. You and I have talked about that a little bit before, and such an important thing to consider when people, you and I have talked about stuff. So you get my recommendation of stuff you've helped me with, but mediation is a big thing. Well, let's jump to you, Chris. Give our audience a little bit of your background.
Well, so I'm from Elberton, same place that Jim and Steve are from. I grew up here. I spent a little time bouncing around in my youth, and then actually wound up doing a few years on the road with the sheriff's office before law school. Went to school down in Florida. When I graduated, I came back and worked as a law clerk for a couple of years. Then got barred here, barred in Florida, went back to Florida, prosecuted down there for about a year and a half, and came back here January of 18. January of 19.
It all blends together, doesn't it?
It does, and came back and hooked up with Steve here in the Northeast Georgia area.
Right.
And we're doing. My focus is primarily criminal defense, but we little general civil litigation, family, domestic type stuff here and there, but primarily the criminal, just because that's where the background lies. So that's kind of my old man story in a nutshell.
Hey man, that's all right. We all have those stories these days. So that's yeah, I do that all the time. I'll start talking and I'm like, was that 17 or 16 or 18? And I'll look at something, it was like 2014. And I'm like, it seems like it was crazy. But well, so it seems like with the whole firm, you guys can take on a laundry list of different things, from talking, but y'all both have two different kind of focus areas. So, I know, Jim, when you came on my marketing matters show, I didn't even mention it then, but on a marketing point of view, you have different things from mediation to the criminal side to the, other areas you mentioned before, Jim, you focus in to pretty much handle a lot of what people need. And how do y'all go about it with your customer service? Is it more of like a boutique feel where you're, not trying to feel such like huge law firm that you got to go through 85 people to get an answer? I mean, what is it you want people to know? I think people just want to do business with good people, and I know y'all are good people. So how do y'all convey that or what you're about?
Well, I think one of the things that we do pretty clearly, or as clear as we possibly can, is we shoot people straight. We don't build something up for somebody if it's not meant to be built up. Like if somebody comes to me with a wreck case, I'm not going to tell them, oh, that's a $50,000 case, when I know in my heart it's only like a $5,000 case. I'll shoot them straight, and if they don't, and sometimes people don't like it and they leave and go somewhere else, and that's that's absolutely fine. But I think the cornerstone of what we do is being honest and straightforward with our clients, and I think Chris is the same. Like if somebody comes to him with, and Chris, I'll let you hit on this. Somebody comes to him with some criminal charges for that are felony charges for, I don't know, ag assault or something like that, where they've beaten somebody up and they're like, oh, I don't want to do anything. This is the first time I've ever gotten in trouble. Chris will probably shoot him straight and say, no, you don't have to do something.
Oh, yeah.
Chris, I'll let you take that.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, it's the goal, obviously, especially in the criminal realm, is to get the lightest sentence that you can. That's what everybody wants. But you're right. It's not realistic. So, you got to give them realistic expectations from the get-go. And the sooner you do that, the better it's going to be for everybody. But touching on the big firm thing about, going through 85 different people, you may call at any given time. You might call either one of the offices and we're liable to answer the phone, ourselves. And you may call at 7:30 at night and run across one of us being here. You just never know. So we're pretty easy to get a hold to. We're fairly, I don't want to say that we don't keep hours, because we do, but we often go beyond those hours.
We're flexible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason I asked that question is, Jim, I texted or emailed something I was dealing with in a business issue, and it wasn't even in the realm of probably, I won't even say what it is. I'm going to keep that out of it. So far, the guy's obliging, but something I just asked his opinion of, and it was just a real quick, straightforward, this, that, and I said, okay, right now. But that's really, I think, guys, what people want, and they don't want this bureaucratic, go through 12 paralegals to get an answer and then get this big bill of going, what did I even get out of this? I mean, I know that's how I would feel. I want to deal with people. And how do you feel this is going to be even more important coming through a pandemic, where people have, had to work remotely, and who do you trust? And I know, Jim, when you and I first talked, turned out we were neighbors and we connected, and yesterday I had two more people in my life that were connections of connections. I kind of say, if you do the right thing and you do it the right way, I think that's going to always goes a long way. But how do y'all feel about that with your firm, especially in a pandemic and going into a new year and all that kind of stuff? I mean, you think it positions you in the light you want to be in?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, like you pointed out, doing the right thing, it's not always the most profitable thing. And that's why neither one of us is millionaires now. But, we can sleep at night, and you're doing some good for people. And ultimately, that's what we both went into practice of law to do, was to help people, whether we knew that's why we were going into it or not. That's part of your, part of the reason you do this type of work is not just for the profit. And that's where we differentiate ourselves from other firms. And is that we look at it, we have to make business decisions, but we put people above business as much as we can, offer free advice whenever we can. And something my dad's always said and kind of hammered into my mind, and I know he's hammered it into Chris's mind in the past 2 years, is that we're not just attorneys at law, we're also counselors at law.
Right.
And that means sometimes you have to sit and listen to somebody vent about something that that there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. And you can't provide them any services, and you're not going to get a dime out of it, but you do it anyway because, that's the right thing. And that's one of the things I think differentiates us from many firms.
Yeah, I can, and Chris, to getting, I know you and I hadn't met in person, but just to getting to know you through the show and my interactions with Jim, I relate to that completely. I mean, people call when it's related to our magazines that I have or whatever, and they're telling me all these stories. But when the stories, kind of like when you and I first met, Jim, become, how all these people start coming together, it's just amazing. And that's why this show, Community Connections, is not just, hey, Metro Atlanta or Gwinnett. It goes everywhere because everybody has a local community. I mean, every business, you have a business owner and a law firm in Kansas right now talking about what do we need? And I think as a country and as a world that's been this craziness of like 10 or 11 months, and people really need someone to talk to and listen to them, and shoot them straight. Like you said, Chris, not be like, hey man, just pretend you didn't get that warrant. And,
Right.
be like Ryan's Thrifty story, his $3 toll. That's not the same thing. I'm scared of Thrifty. You know, they're going to be. I'm going to say,
Well, remember, I can help you in Florida. Just remember that.
Okay. Well, I may. You know, it's going to be. You mark my words. I'm going to show up at a rental car thing when all this stuff clears. Then it'll be like a Ron White. Are you Ryan $3 Sauers? Like, you got me. You caught the Ryan. Oh man. Well, you know, tell a little bit about. Do you guys both do things outside of your firm in the community? And you know, I know you guys are family guys. Whatever, just so people can get to know you a little bit more beyond just the work stuff you do.
Yeah, I'm dialing into the Gwinnett community. As you know, I've only been here for about 2 years now. You know, I'm on your HOA board, so that was the first step for me.
You're already going to send me a fee just from talking. That's fine. Put it on my tab. Put it on my tab. I'll call Chris.
There you go.
Call Chris. Let him. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's one of the closest to home ways that I can give back. You know, I've got a 7-year-old and a 2-year-old, both boys, and I've done when, you know, before the pandemic, I helped coach baseball for my 7-year-old. I helped coach basketball, and did Cub Scouts for a little while. I was the den leader for the Cub Scouts for a few months, and you know, those are some of the things that I like to do in the community. That's, you know, I kind of have to find that balance between family and business. You know, there's a whole lot more stuff that I'd love to be doing.
Yep.
My wife used to tease me because when we lived in Elberton to the Atlanta area, I had my hand in just about everything I could get in. I was on Downtown Development Authority. I can't remember all the clubs. I was part of the Elks Club. I was just everything. Chris, I'll let you take, because Chris is doing an awful lot of that now. But I try to be involved every chance I can that doesn't take too much away from my family, because family always comes first.
Well, I'll tell you,
but community is a very close second.
Well, I did my tour of duty probably, and I'm older than you guys are, but I did when we have 3 daughters, one in college, one a senior in high school, and one I called my baby. She's 13, and so they were like, the 13 months. I said, no, she's 13 years old. But anyway, I think when the middle one, 18, was that was when I was homeowners president. So I did my tour of duty, but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
But back then, you know, it's been a different world. But yeah, you know, it's hard. I mean, I want to hear your answer too, Chris. But it's hard to balance that whole between, you know, a smaller business, because all the small business owners wear a million hats. Your family, giving back, and you know, we're still struggling with the 24 hours a day we all got. You know, so
right.
But any thoughts on that you want to say, Chris?
Well, Jim's right, and we collectively blame his father for this. We're kind of forced into or greatly nudged into some things around here, but you know, of course, it's all good fun. But yeah, Rotary, Elks, our chamber president and I kind of kick-started a young professionals group when I came back to town last year. So we're still doing that. The biggest thing these days, especially with the whole trying to work from home here and there, is my girlfriend and I are pretty heavily involved in a animal rescue group over in Athens. And so I think right now we have like 8 cats in the house that don't belong to us.
Oh, wow.
That we're fostering. So yeah, you know, it's all right. That and our 3. So I'm trying to get Jim sucked into that too. I tell you what, 1 or 2
I got 2 cats I adopted years ago, and I'm not really a cat guy. And if they destroy one more thing, I keep saying I'm going to throw them off at the newest cypress tree. I'm not really going to do it, but they have scratched up everything in my house, and I'm like, these cats are getting so old, and I'm like, dude, literally every piece of furniture every time. So my kids love them though, so that's
oh yeah,
but, that's right.
But well, tell us something. We won't go too much longer here. First of all, let's tell them, how can they reach you guys? What's the main website or phone numbers or whatever the easiest way you prefer people to reach out to you wherever they're listening, because y'all aren't limited to, you know, I'm assuming you could talk to people from different areas, right?
Sure. So we've got our website is www.dyaljenkins.com, DYAL Jenkins, JENKINS.com. And, you know, there's 2 phone numbers. If the claim is primarily a personal injury, something like that, call the Atlanta office. I say Atlanta office. It's in Atlanta, but it may as well be in Tucker.
Sure.
And serving the Gwinnett area and all the Metro Atlanta area, and Georgia for that matter. But our number there is 404-919-7297. That's our my paralegal Andretta most days will answer the phone, and whoever calls will immediately fall in love with her because she is like the sweetest person in the whole wide world.
Awesome.
And she's genuine too, which is so important. That, or if you want to reach me, I've told you before, Ryan, I broadcast my cell phone number, 706-255-1081. I don't mind people calling me. Most people don't abuse it. Somebody starts abusing it, I'll let them know. But that doesn't happen very often. So there's that. And then Chris, you can speak about, your area and the best way to reach you.
Well, we're in Elberton, which is right outside of Athens. If you're not from here, nobody ever knows where it is, but we're about a half an hour out of Athens. And our number here at the office, 706-283-8240. Our emails also, if you're Jim's like me, they're connected to our cell phone, so they're connected to us 24/7. Pretty simple. Mine's Chris at DyalJenkins.com, and he's Jim at DyalJenkins.com. And we'd probably be remiss not mention, of course, Steve, who's not with us here, handles real estate and a lot of probate, estate planning, wills, trust, that kind of thing. And again, handle anything anywhere within the state, not just our dedicated areas. It gets a little tougher, especially on my end with the criminal side of, for example, if somebody called me from Savannah, purely because so many times with that, you have to physically be present in a courtroom, and you don't know, we don't go out and get drinks with the DAs down there on the regular. So we don't know them,
right,
like we do up here. But we
I'm in with those thrifty guys. So yeah, I know.
There
what you
you
mean.
go.
Right.
No, I got you. Well, and it'll be interesting, I think, for all of us to see, because I think you were alluding to, Jim, will Zooms and so forth change anything in the legal world? I know you're going to have to be present, but will it have a change over the next decade or so? I would say possibly, but I don't know.
Will,
I don't know. But no, I understand what you're saying, because if you physically got to appear and, logistics play a role,
Sure.
but, depending on what it is, I'm sure you can make it happen, if it's the right fit.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time. I appreciate, again, your flexibility of coming on the show. We will be getting this show out. I'll be getting a link to you guys so you can share it through the video format. We will also, our audience knows, I think this will be like our 53rd show. And has a really strong audio podcast following. So wherever you get your podcasts, so we'll be getting you all that too. I'll be sharing it. But any final thoughts you want to leave our audience with today? We're recording, by the way, election day, middle of the day. So any things on your mind? Any last? I'll give you the last comment, and then I'm going to close this down.
One of the things that some of the thoughts that I was considering before was, what's one of the best piece of advice you've gotten since this pandemic started? And it's almost kind of a cheesy one, but it's a lot more profound than it sounds. It's like, we're all in this together. And it's so true, because anytime like somebody's doing a Zoom or something like that and kids are screaming in the background, you get a pass now, whereas before this you didn't. But we are all in this together. I think it's important that we recognize that, and be flexible with everybody, and kind of let things happen as they're going to, and that'll make for a whole lot more peace in your own life. So
perfect.
That's what I got.
I love that, Jim. I love that. And Chris, any final words for our audience?
Yeah, it's hard to follow that one. I honestly, and cheesy, I guess, works too. But I'll given what today is, and a lot of folks are going to have differing opinions. So all I can say to everybody is be kind, because we need a lot more being nice to each other out there right now.
Amen.
Absolutely.
Amen. And I didn't mention we're not doing this show, but I just want to throw back out. If you guys got questions on mediation, which is a great process to avoid going legal, contact Jim, because it's a great way to not go down a road of a huge court case that could possibly be resolved. So I'm throwing that out there. He's really good at it. It's very important, and it could save you a lot of money and a lot of headaches. So we didn't get to that there, but Chris Dyal, Jim Jenkins, and a shout out to Steve Jenkins of Dyal Jenkins Attorneys at Law, Counselors at Law. Listen to you. Thank you so much for coming on the Community Connection Show.
Thanks for having us, Ryan.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, to Community Connection Show with Ryan Sauers. We will see you again next time.